Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video. I'm going to be covering two completely distinct topics within this video. The second topic probably has a wee bit more long-term ramifications in it. Don't worry, I'm not quitting the game, right? But first topic is going to be summoning priorities, okay? Now, straight up, I am not going to piss about with you guys. I'm just going to talk to you straight. Every month if I wanted to, I could put out a video talking about summoning priorities for special summons. I could do the same thing for divinations. I could do the same thing for tier lists. But do you know what? I don't want to do it. The reason I don't want to do it is because I'm basically making a video for the sake of making a video if I do that. Because what's changed between last month and this month? Probably 1 or 2 units. So what's the need for me to put out a full entire video every month going over summoning priority or that month's tier list? Because do you know what? The odds are it's going to be the same as the previous month, but there's going to be 1 or 2 new units that are added on to that priority list or that tier list. So I'm not going to do it. Instead, I'm going to talk about, should you summon for Guile? So where would he sit when it comes to your summoning priorities? First of all, if you watched my previous summoning priority videos, I would say that this unit and this unit are probably your top picks, as they are going to help you progress your account further. Simple. The question you then have to ask yourself is, what DPS do you fancy most? Some have strengths, some have weaknesses, which we've gone over in a previous video. So in this video, we're simply going to focus on where does Guile sit in all of this. So let's talk pros and let's talk cons, shall we? Guile is a unit that works very well if he has saber stacks. Kind of like normal Guile. If he's got saber stacks, he is going to hit extremely hard, okay? Which means he can be good for stages and he can be good for bossing. That, in my opinion, makes him a very solid prospect. Now, what Guile has going for him that none of the other units have going for them is he does not have a lot of competition within his own faction. Okay, if we look here, there's loads of options when it comes to Inferno DPSs. There is probably the 2 best DPS options in the entire game for Flame or Fire. Arguably, people will say Dalsim. If you look at the recent leaderboards, you will probably be seeing more and more Flame Adon, because he is probably the #1 pick for damage output. Okay, the fact with multiple teams, you can have both of these free-to-play units filling up 2 entirely different teams means that Flame is pretty much covered. There is no DPS option in here for Wind, but you hardly need it anyway. So Guile actually has a unique selling point, and that is he can provide huge damage in an area that isn't already filled by other units. Not only is he providing huge damage, his C3 also adds stacks of armor break, meaning that if you've got him paired up with a strong C2 attacker, then when it comes to overall damage output, for example, someone like Akuma, who's doing the C2, on the second rotation after Guile's launched his C3, he's piled on armor break, bang, Akuma's going to hit for that much more damage. To me, that makes this guy a very worthy pickup. Would I value him above Akuma, Evil Ryu, Oni? that really depends on you, and it depends on your account. Those units are not going to help you progress in the tower, because you kind of can't progress in the Inferno Tower right now. It's essentially locked for progression. This guy could help you move in the Thunder Tower, which to me means I would seriously consider him. Would I stop summoning for Oni? Would I stop summoning for Evil Ryu? Would I stop summoning for Akuma? No. I would finish those units off first. Would I go for him before I would go for Kami Vega? If you're starting fresh, probably yes, for the reasons I already said. He is essentially filling an empty void that is currently not being filled by any other units, and that is a rock solid option within the Thunder faction for a DPS. So, would I say that Guile elevates towards the top of the summoning priority list? Probably yes, but again, I would not change who I'm currently targeting. Unless you're a whale, I wouldn't change who I'm currently targeting to get this guy. If you do like the looks of those other units, and you think those units are going to help you in more content, then stick with them. But if you're on the fence about who should I go for, I think Guile is an absolute rock solid pickup. It's going to help you do more damage. He is going to help other people on your team do more damage because of building up armor break. Overall, I do think that Guile is a rock solid pickup. So that is the end of that. I'm not going to do these every single month where do these sit and rank all 4 units. I'll probably next month, if we get a new unit like this, I'll just say where I think they should go in relation to summoning priorities. Simple as that. Now, topic number 2, completely separate, going to jump into it now. So the second topic, you guys might have noticed that my video output on the channel has gone down. Straight up. There's less videos coming out on the channel. Why is that? Well, most of the reason why is because I guess you could say I've lost motivation. I don't necessarily think that's what it is though, right? The reason why you're seeing less videos on the channel is because I opted to focus on one game, which is Street Fighter. Because at the time, there was nothing else that I liked, right? And even now, there is only really one other game that I'm enjoying playing, and that is Cyber Rebellion. And do you know what? I've not really put out many videos on that either, right? If you watch a lot of gacha creators, you will notice a trend, right? And that is they will kind of go from game to game to game. Now, whether you use this as a derogatory term or not, a lot of people refer to that as gacha hoppers, right? Unfortunately, it's the nature of these games. After you've done so much content, there's not really much more you can do, right? Because how many times do you really need to put out a tier list? How many times do you really need to make a guide about something that, let's be honest, anyone who's been watching for any period of time realises that you've pretty much covered extensively multiple times. So you can either do one of two things, that is, do what I've been doing, which is making content when new content drops. And in between then, do nothing, right? Most people don't want to do that as they want their channels to grow in 5. So what those people do is they cover another game, and another game, and another game. And before you know it, you've got like 5 or 6 games on rotation, and slowly you start chopping off the other games. I don't want to do that, right? I really don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do that. So what I want to do is something that I've always had a genuine interest in, and that is gaming, right? I've always enjoyed gaming. I was very into the Steam Deck when it came out, and I attempted to do some videos about games that would be good on the go kind of thing. Didn't work very well, right? But I think that's because I never approached it from the right way. So, as well as doing my Street Fighter content and potentially any other games that catch my interest, which won't be often, I'll be honest, it won't be often. I recently picked myself up one of these, which is a Lenovo Legion Go, so a Windows-based Steam Deck basically. And I kind of want to get back into covering what I want to call real games. So, you know, PC games, console games, that type of thing. And rather than me simply focusing on gacha coverage, I think I want to go back to also covering full games. So whether that be reviews, previews, recommendations, basically talking about games that I think would be good to play on the go. Because let's be honest, most of the people watching this are probably people who like to play games on the go, because you play games on your mobile phone. So whether it's a game that will work for you via the ROG Ally, the Steam Deck, the Legion Go, or if you've got a good internet connection, good Wi-Fi at home, on your mobile phone with one of those controller grips using Steam Link, I want to make videos about stuff like that. Now, I get that maybe I'll need to make a new channel to do that. I don't really want to because I'm lazy, but I just want to let you guys know that I think moving forward, rather than having loads of gacha games on the channel, I think basically I'm going to continue to put out content for Street Fighter when there's content available to put out. I'm not going to manufacture content out of nothing. And in the meantime, I'm just going to have fun playing games, and if I think those games would be good to recommend to others, I might put up videos showing you about those games, talking about them, how much they cost, where you can pick them up, maybe where you can get them cheap via code keys and stuff like that. But I think that's what I'm going to do with the channel. I'm bringing it up in this video because I don't want people to think I'm being burnt out covering Street Fighter, because I'm not. I just have really realised, probably for a while now, there's peaks and valleys. There's lots of content to cover when we get a new trial, when we get a new event stage, when we get a new summon. But in between, there's not really. There really isn't. I tried to do things like the Masters series and stuff like that, but honestly, there was no interest. There was no interest. Same as the community challenge. The reason I wanted to do that was to keep myself engaged, but the community weren't interested. So when I can't get interest from the people who I'm trying to interest, it makes me lose my interest. So ultimately I decided it's a waste of my energy to try to manufacture something out of nothing, and instead I'll make content when there is content available to make. And instead of just constantly looking for new gacha games to cover, I think what I'm going to do is put out videos on real games, full games, games that you buy and then you don't need to spend any more money. One-off purchases. Imagine that. Anyway, I probably didn't need to share this information with you guys, but I felt I should, because if you start seeing Steam games, PC games, console games appearing on the channel, you might be, what the hell's happening? So I thought it made more sense to explain myself. But anyway, that's it. That's my opinion on the first thing and an update on me. So yeah, thanks for watching. Peace, and I'll catch you in the next one.